Hi, happy full moon in Leo. At least I think the moon is still in Leo. I'm getting to this video a little bit late, this reading. I pull runes on the full moon and the new moon, and I take a look at what healing looks like, and I do a reading for the collective that is healing. But the one that I did a couple nights ago on the full moon, last night, was that last night or the night before? Anyways, I pulled the runes on camera and then the audio got completely messed up. So Mercury is in retrograde, I believe. So here we are. Yeah, so I'm redoing the video. I'm gonna do it a little bit different this time because I have already drawn the runes into a Bindrune. So what I do is I cast them. I ask, what does healing look like? And then I draw that set of runes into a sigil. I combine them to create one symbol that contains all of their meaning. So I've already done that, and yeah, I'm gonna share. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. I hope this message finds you well. And I hope this message serves your healing process. If you work with runes, consider these runes as suggestions that you can work with if you want to call in healing for yourself or others, or if you are just healing and on that process in some way, consider these concepts as tools. So yeah, let's get into it. I pulled 4 runes this time. And it's basically came out in these two sets, 2 couples, 2 pairs. And it's the thorn along with mankind. Trying to get that glare off. Okay. The thorn and mankind. And then we have the horse and the harvest. So this speaks about connectivity and relationship and working together. So this is about the whole reading speaks about the nature of connectivity and healing through that, and healing how we do that. So there's this kind of masculine and feminine here going on. Mankind is a very Aquarius energy. It's about the group and understanding, having that kind of mental capacity to understand where everybody's place is, the ways that our purposes fit together, the way that you have your lane, I have my lane. This is how we can link. This is how your purpose can benefit my purpose. Actually, this rune is kind of a reflection of the purpose rune. You see how it looks like 2 peas facing each other? And contained in that is the thorn, this triangle shape. This is a very powerful masculine combination. It's a very refined, tempered masculine energy. This thorn is pure power. This is a breaking through boundaries, initiating, creating new space, the warrior energy. So together, this combination is like a warrior who fights for the good of their community. This is a warrior who, understands their place. This is really putting a lot of firepower and energy, right? Just putting a lot of force into what we believe is right, where we know, what can help others, right? That's what this mankind is. And then this thorn is like going super hard for it. So, this thorn energy, it's very Aries like, it's very cardinal fire, and it's the masculine side of that energy. It is really externalizing your actions, making things happen. And this is this very masculine side of Aquarius energy. It's this very like logical, top-down understanding. Everybody has their place, and here's where you need to go. Here's where I need to go. So together, it's like a very healthy masculine energy, and a very powerful one. Right? This is asking us to go hard about the things that serve the community. Like, go hard, not to hesitate, to put a lot of energy towards our families, our communities, our networks, to offer things that actually, benefit the whole. Now, here on the other side is this horse. And this isn't just the horse, this is the horse and the rider. This is also about relationship and connectivity. And this is a very feminine aspect of that Aquarius energy. Aquarius is, yes, it's this logical air sign that has this top-down perspective that can understand everybody's place, right? But it's also the water bearer Aquarius energy. It's also the application of that top-down understanding, right? It's actually building trust, right? So a horse is so deeply emotional, so deeply sensitive, that in order to ride a horse, in order to build that relationship, to actually get it to go where you want and not get thrown off of it when it gets spooked or whatever, you need it to trust you, right? If you've ever, I've been on a horse a few times in my life, but if you've ever known people or watched people work with horses, they have incredible patience, very gentle touch, right? It's this like, they understand presence and trust, how to build that trust, how to use their perspective to get this very powerful animal, to go in the direction they want. So that feels like this very Aquarius, a feminine side of that Aquarius energy of like understanding how to nurture and give into relationships so that they are mutual, so that they work. And that kind of animal trainer, that water bearer archetype, it's much more emotional, it's much more physical, it's much more in the moment. This mankind, why I say this is the masculine aspect of Aquarius energy, because it's more logical, it's more about the mind. This horse and rider, it's more about the body, it's more about the emotions being present, the vibes. If anybody will tell you about vibes, it's a horse, right? They're super sensitive. They pick up on every little thing and they react instantly. So in order to ride that, you have to have that incredible, grounded, present energy yourself. You can't spook them. Now, this is here paired with the harvest. This is such a beautiful combination. Similar, very similar, or parallel or reflection or whatever, because this harvest rune is, it's like Libra, it's like the feminine side of Libra energy. It's the time of year when you harvest your crops. Everything that you planted back in Aries season comes back around, and you see the effects of what the actions that you took. That's the scales, right? That's when you measure everything and you see how well it did, and you're actually reaping either the rewards or the losses. So this rune is like karma, right? It's that reflection, it's that quality of the 7th house where you put out something and it comes back to you. You see the reflection of yourself. So that paired here with the horse, these two are this very powerful combination of feminine energy, because this is discernment and clear sense of self-worth and I don't want to say boundaries, because it's not really like it's more like this is what I'm worth. I know what I deserve. I only give myself in relationships that give back to me. This is true reciprocity. Like very balanced. This is the scales, and this is trust. Balancing it out before investing yourself. Because think about horses too, how they're so powerful, but they're so almost innocent, right? And susceptible to being captive, right? And that's that very also feminine principle of giving, right? Like really that sort of relational, when I give myself to you, I make myself vulnerable to being taken advantage of. With this harvest here though, it's like that's like that person who's been getting taken advantage of for years, being treated as a doormat because they don't see how much they're worth. Like these two together is like that person like going, suddenly looking in the mirror one day and going, whoa, I'm worth so much more than that. Right? Oh, this is what I'm worth. That kind of satisfying feeling I get from this combination of like really, really understanding of self-worth, and how that actually is an alchemy, right? When you mix self-worth with trust, that's when you can really build those relationships that can keep going, like a horse and a rider that can really take you somewhere. But you have to know, you have to be clear about your own value, and you have to be very ruthless about only accepting what it is that's equal in value, right? And a lot of feminine energy, a lot of creative energy as it's expressed in this world has a problem with that, right? We see a lot of people who are the source of feminine, creative, juicy energy are often the people who get taken advantage of the most, right? That raw power of the horse. This is a horse, like, think about that, like a wild horse. A wild horse who's not, who makes their own decisions, who's clear. Because this is like the feminine aspect of Aquarius plus the feminine aspect of Libra. That's a sextile energy. Same over here. With these masculine runes, the thorn and mankind, it's like, this thorn energy is one of the most powerful runes in the set. But, it symbolizes Thor. And there's all these stories about him and his anger problem. And, you know, once he gets going, he, you know, kills a bunch of people, like causes all this problem. Like, he's a problem when he's not tempered with an understanding of serving the community. This is also a sextile type relationship, beneficial. A sextile in astrology is an angle that benefits, right? So you can see this between this sort of cardinal fire and fixed air. It's like this personal power, this personal drive is funneled in a direction where it can actually grow and serve those around it, right? It wants to do that. And this combination, it's like, similarly, it's relieving to this, right? These two, they both make me feel like, oh wow, that's a warrior energy you can trust. This too. This is such a beautiful combination. And seeing them, you know, seeing them here like this, like come out in those two sets, those two pairs, it really drives home this kind of tempering and balancing on both sides, right? That has to happen. That, like, this Leo full moon that we're at right now, it's like shining this spotlight up at Aquarius energy, this mankind and the horse trainer, that this energy, it's like really shining a light on how we're connected, how we're actually connected, how those connections really actually affect each other. We are very connected. You take actions and it affects those around you. We are seeing that on completely, it's like, I mean, this week, the stuff that's happened this week on the world stage, right? It's the stuff that's happening in people's families, the stuff that's going on in people's personal lives. This is showing us this combination of runes. It's like talking about that connectivity and how to temper it and balance it on both sides, right? That your personal power, it requires purpose. It requires an understanding of purpose. And your purpose requires that you push, that you fight for it, that you go for it, that you do believe in yourself, right? You can't, you know, think about what's good. You have to go do it, right? You can't be thinking about, oh, what should we all be doing? It's like, no, figure out what your place, figure out what your lane is. You know, that's how that Aquarius energy is benefited by that Aries energy, right? That Aries energy just like goes and gets it and it's like not worried about shit. Aquarius energy, without that, it can get very stuck in the, oh, well, this, in the mental realm, right? So this is a tempering of that. And same on this feminine aspect, our relationships, how we trust, what we give ourselves to, what we offer, our value, and what we the personal responsibility required when entering into relationships. Is it feasible? Are you receiving, you know, enough in return? Like, if you're getting drained dry by your relationships, it's your responsibility, right? There's that Libra, like, scales, kind of harsh, logical, ruthless, like, no, I'm gonna get, like, it needs to be exact. It needs to measure out. The scales need to balance before I will even engage with you, right? That energy has to be mixed with this, trust, what you put your trust in, what you throw yourself into, what you, like, what you sustain yourself, the relationships that you sustain. They have to come back to you. Similarly, it's like where we do use our, it's like the reverse, right? It's like the horse needs to have its, what we invest our trust in, that's the horse part, the submissive part, like what we submit to, what we really allow ourselves to be a part of and flow with and offer ourselves to, right? That comes with personal responsibility. It flips too. It's like where we use our powers, right? This water bearer horse trainer energy. This is not just the horse. This is also the rider of that horse. It's the relationship between the two. So, again, Aquarius energy is tempered here by this Libra energy. It's like justice is tempered with that animal trainer. Like, we all know how that animal trainer energy can get really shady, right? Like, taking advantage of those that trust you, taking advantage, using, nurturing people and giving them what, using your relationships to gain power over people, right? That, an unethical use of that kind of trust. It's on both sides, right? And here's this balancing the scales. It's like, is that right? Right? Are you, is it truly reciprocal when you build trust? Trust, that trust factor, whichever side you're on, right? And people, we all find ourselves on one side or the other at one point, right? It's like trust makes you vulnerable. When someone trusts you, they're giving you their vulnerability. And so this is about being right in right relationship. Being in right relationship. Yeah, so I drew these 4 into sigils to combine these meanings of the thorn. Thurisaz is what this rune is named. Mannaz, mankind. Ehwaz, the horse. And Jera, the harvest. This vision of connectivity that is truly self-sustaining, truly equal, truly reciprocal and mutual and like it's very self-sustained. It's this vision of networks, communities, relationships that work. Yeah, so I drew them into these symbols to try to capture that essence of that energy. And an interesting thing happened. So first I was just playing around. I just want to show you guys my process. So first I was just playing around with how they fit together, right? So, here we have the thorn is already present here. And then when you place these two in a mirror like that, you get this, you get the harvest right here. So I just was like playing around with that and then came up with, just, it was so geometric and I kept, it just made me want to keep going. And so I kept going and it just like kept getting more and more. So this repeating pattern just emerged, and it feels very Aquarius. It feels so like unruly. It reminds me of just that energy of like it couldn't really be contained. Like I kept trying to draw it into like into a symbol that was its own shape, but you see how it just like really wants to keep going because these shapes are so open, these two. So that repeating that, it made me think of that image of connectivity, of how you touch one part of a network and the whole network lights up and everybody feels it. Like a nervous system or a circulatory system, right? Those different, or a river system, those electric system in a house, like a computer system, those different ways that we connect things. So yeah, that's these runes for this Aquarius season with this beautiful Leo full moon. Yeah, I'm going to, I actually kind of like getting to share the bind runes. So maybe I'll do, in the future, maybe I'll do like the reading in 2 parts. Maybe I'll try to cast them and then go draw the bind rune and then come back and do the rest of the video or something. We'll see. Yeah, so that was, I'm very grateful for these runes. That was a beautiful message, and I hope that it finds those who can find it useful. And yeah, I'll see you next time. So sending you protection if you want it, and I'll see you around.